Nintendo, a company known for their hit games such as Star Tropics for the Nintendo Entertainment System and Doshin the Giant. You gotta love Doshin, just look at the guy, he's so happy. But one thing that I think most people enjoy is the music. There's a specific style that just feels Nintendo, you know? It's in Animal Crossing, the eShop, the Mii Creator, actually literally anything on the Wii. God, the Wii was so good, rest in peace. I would love to use this music in my videos, but Nintendo loves their IP, and they don't give a fuck about how small you are. And I don't want to risk getting copyright struck, and I don't think you do either. This track was actually made for a challenge in Kiro's Discord server, where we had 2 or so weeks to make something with a themed shop. And my mind instantly started thinking of the Wii and Animal Crossing, so those were my main inspirations for making this. What I did first is I made a pattern using these conga sounds, which are both in key and playing along with the tempo of the whole track. And what this does is it drives the whole track forward, sets the key, and it sets the tempo. You can hear I added a little bit of noise to give it that natural sound. Next, what I did is I added some percussion. Just a little shaker that adds a bit more to it, along with a little pop sound. Next, I made chords. I don't know much music theory, but I did figure out that if you have 2 notes spaced 2 apart, each like this, with 3 in the middle, you can just shift these up and down on key, and you can get all types of nice little chords. And that's exactly what I did for these 3 chords. And it just plays that the entire time. Next, you can add a bass. Now this bass is a very old-timey kind of Sega Genesis type sound and bass. It's just this flex preset, and you can hear I added these little pitch bends. It gives it that very nostalgic kind of old-timey feel, along with using some velocity automation to make it feel a bit more natural, and also mixing the whole volume of sounds in the track. So let's hear that. Now, the elephant in the room is this lead sound. Okay, now how did I make this? Let's see. It's a sawtooth wave with a filter to get that very signature wow sound, you know? Use envelope 2 to get that sound. You increase the resonance and the cutoff of the filter. You get that. And then if you put some chorus, now adding the downsample allows you to get that very characteristic sound that you hear. It really accentuates the wow sound. And adding a little delay gives some more space, and then reverb as well. And here you can see I automated the pitch bend of this, so without it, it just sounds like this. Now that's very stagnant. It's very like empty. You don't really want that. But adding a pitch bend, which here is just automating this one, which is linked to a -5 + 5 pitch bend. It gives it that very signature, drowsy sounding synth. Oh, you hear that? Little sound effect. So next thing, you want to add as many tiny little ear candy stuff as you can.
Okay.
Now these sounds aren't just put randomly. They're put at transitional sections or at the end or start of certain percussion sounds, as you can hear here. Here I recorded some vocals with a +5 pitch bend. So this is without them, you know, but just putting that +5 pitch bend gives it that kind of like brighter, higher pitch sound. Adding a background ambience adds a lot, so here's without it. And here's with it. It adds a lot of background that you don't actually need to put in because it's part of the background ambience. Now, when it transitions right before the drums are added, what you can do is a off-key kind of jazzy feel. Now, this took a lot of tampering with, but I ended up getting chords that I liked just by trial and error. And they lead right nicely back into the original chords, along with a bass that goes with it, and a little piano motif. And that piano motif leads right into an additional piano part, which really isn't much, but it adds a lot, along with a drum pattern. These can be the most simple drums ever. It does not need to be complicated. But then when it comes to this part, it's the breakdown. Now here I stripped away all percussion, and it adds a very different vibe because you don't have a single driving beat that you can follow. And instead you have this main lead thing. It is not in key this first part because it's part of that little transitional part with the chords. And I left this part very empty because it allows for some breathing room with the more, I wouldn't call it a drop, but you know what I mean, this section, and gives a more transitional kind of section that is different than the main part. Now how did I make this sound? Again, using Vital. It's really simple. I used just a triangle wave with a squeeze modifier. And it gives it that initial kind of wah sound, because without it, then you add some chorus for width, some EQ, and some reverb. Now you can have an LFO with an envelope that kind of looks like this, so that way when you press and hold for long enough, it lasts up there. But when you do short stuff, it doesn't get up there. And now this is modulating a macro, which then turns on a pitch wobble. And if I re-enable this, you can hear that. So short sounds, you don't hear the pitch wobble, but when I hold it, it comes in and it makes it sound a bit more like somebody actually played it. You can hear it right there. Now these notes might seem a bit sporadic and random, and that's because they mostly are, but you just kind of mess around and see what sounds nice. And now this part is back in that in-between section with the kind of jazzy chords. And one thing I like to do with my leads is I play these little notes. Make sure that when you do that though, the voices is set to 1, so that way they don't play in multiple, but then that kind of imitates a pitch bend while also being a bit more controllable. Now in this section what I did is, first I transitioned it in with a little chime effect. Very simple. I think that's a stock sound, but if you have it quiet enough, then it just kind of adds something to the background. And following the main lead from before, I have that, again, new lead that kind of echoes it after it's played. Now here's another breakdown, using a different sound. Same concept as before, but this time something new. Very interesting sound. This time I used Serum, and I think my intention was to have a more vocally sound, but I ended up with this. I used a Vox sample as part of it. A lot of stuff I did here. Compression is key in raising the volume of stuff. I really don't know what I did to make that, but it sounds nice. So here, same concept as before, just with a different sound. Except this time the shakers are here to just kind of add variety. Now here, I have this little sound, which kind of adds atmosphere to this that you didn't really hear before. You bring back that break section from before. Except this time, you have this snare build. And you bring back everything. And to end everything off, you have a nice jazz chord. This song's actually now on streaming, both the regular version and the slowed version, because I thought it sounded cool slowed down a bit. And it's also royalty free, so you can use it in your videos. Just don't say you made it. I hope you liked this video, and I hope you found it entertaining. Maybe helpful as a tutorial as well. I mean, that was the intention. But anyway, go make great music, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.